Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So Bhagavad-gita as it is, chapter 17, text 26 to 27. Title of this chapter is The Divisions of Faith. So listen attentively, a translation by Prabhupada. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance and charity, which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O Son of Prita. Please kindly, responsibly repeat. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice. And it is indicated by the word sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called sat. As are all works of sacrifice, penance and charity, which true to the absolute nature are performed to please the Supreme Person, O Son of Prita. Purport. The words prasasti karmani, or prescribed duties, indicate that there are many activities prescribed in the Vedic literature which are purificatory processes, beginning from the time of conception up to the end of one's life. Such purificatory processes are adopted for the ultimate liberation of the living entity. In all such activities, it is recommended that one vibrate Om Tat Sat. The words Sat Bhave and Sadubhave indicate the transcendental situation. Acting in Krishna consciousness is called Sattva. And one who is fully conscious of the activities of Krishna consciousness is called a sadhu. In Srimad Bhagavatam 25, it is said that the transcendental subject matter becomes clear in the association of the devotees. The words used are satam prasangat. Without good association, one cannot achieve transcendental knowledge. When initiating a person or offering the sacred thread, one vibrates the words Om Tat Sat. Similarly, in all kinds of performance of Jagya, the object is the Supreme, Om Tat Sat. The word Tat Artyam further means offering service to anything which represents the Supreme, including such service as cooking and helping in the Lord's temple, or any other kind of work for broadcasting the glories of the Lord. These supreme words, Om Tat Sat, are thus used in many ways to perfect all activities and make everything complete. Come again at Timranse. Jena Jana Sarakaya, Saksula Medita, Jena Tasmai. Sigura Venamaha. Chicheta Emanobistan, Safitam Jena Bhutavi, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Gadataswa Padantika. Vanchakalpataribhyacha, Kripasunabhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanabhya, Vaishnavya Namo. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinam Namaste Saraswati Deva Gaurava Vichari Nivisesa Sonya Bhadi Pasatya Dutsatarya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So a pretty interesting text in the sense that it looks very simple, but it's giving us, a deep insight on what constitutes the phrase or the terminology Om Tat Sat, and how it is so important in our everyday activities, in our everyday devotional reality. So here in this very text, this word here draws my attention. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice. Now, tell me something. All of you here, anyone can help me to. I wonder what's the difference? What's the difference between goal and objective? Why does Prabhupada not use the word? You translate that word to mean goal. They use the word objective. Tell me, what is the difference between goal and objective? Can someone help? Because it's mentioned specifically here that the absolute truth is the objective of devotional service. What does that mean to you? In other words, if we understand the difference between objective and goal, tell me something. What is the difference between objective and goal? Then we can figure out that phrase, that very first phrase. Yes, what's your name?
Gaurav.
Oh, this is you seem a little bit different.
So this objective sounds more personal.
Objective sounds more personal.
Like impersonal. Goal is like it could be a thing.
Huh?
Goal sounds more like impersonal. It could be a thing.
Okay.
Objective sounds more personal.
Okay.
Person.
Okay. Yes. Anyone to dispute that or to agree with that? Yes.
I think goal is something that finishes after you're done. Objective, it's like a permanent state.
Okay. Can anyone to support that or to disagree with that? Yes.
My thought was similar to Gaurav's, that I think that in everyday world we use these two words as synonyms, aim and goal, aim and objective. But I was thinking similar to what Gaurav was saying, that objective has the word the root is object, and maybe when we're talking about the absolute truth being the object, just like when we're talking about Krishna being the object of our love or service. So similar to what Gaurav was saying, that is more personal.
Yeah, I appreciate any other input. Thank you very much. Any other input?
When I'm looking at the definition of objective, one of the
Oh, you've gone to check the definition.
one of the definitions actually is goal.
Goal.
So they are kind of synonymous.
Okay.
So it's a very difficult question for someone to answer, to make the difference between both, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So all of your points are very to the point, and I would just like to add that when the concept of goal, because here this is philosophy. Now, the very concept of goal has to do with a defined aim. It's like everybody have their goals. But then, for the devotees, or those who are trying to be devotees, the ultimate goal is to become Krishna Bhakta, to become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. And objective basically. Now, keep in mind that words have connotative and denotative meanings, because objective here is used in a connotative form. Because objective basically implies that you have a goal, and the objectives are those strategies with which you use in attaining that goal. So here it is mentioned, that's why that very term drew my attention. Here is mentioned aptly that the absolute truth is the objective of devotional service. In other words, with the absolute truth, you can rest be assured that you have the tools. These are the absolute truth. Just by the worship of the absolute truth, you'll be able to attain that devotional service, which is not different from Krishna. So it's a little bit technical. It's a very subtle, technical interpretation there. But then essentially, there's a difference. Okay, when we check up with synonyms of words, that is giving you a basic denotative meaning. But within a particular context, we have to be able to figure out where we are going. And basically, in community of inquiry, we are, this is the community of inquiry. When people come together to discuss about absolute truth, philosophy, the jiva, or tatra, that basically is a community of inquiry, because we find this very much in the Vedic tradition, where we have sages. They sit in some place in the forest, and another pioneer sage or very advanced sage has to deliver a talk, and then there will be questions and answers. In most cases, people give talks. You don't find this in the churches or in the mosque. You go give a talk in a mosque or in the church, you're done. You finish. You're gone. They don't, it's not that, there'll be an interlude. You say something and then someone will try to, question you on that. So, no, that is not there. If Trump gives a speech, he goes away. If you want to tackle him on what he said, he tells you something else. So when you say something and go away, you can always deny what you say. You can always change what you say, especially if it's not recorded. Even if it's recorded, these days people say that I don't remember saying that. So here, the very objective of devotional service is the absolute truth. In other words, absolute truth provides or is giving us the tools or the strategies. And keep in mind that the principle of Achinta Beda Beda Tattva holds. In other words, Krishna is he interchanges his limbs. He could use his eyes to eat. We conditioned souls, if we try to use our eyes to eat, we may end up in a clinic. We need our hands to catch up with the food, bring it to our mouth, we chew, we mastic, and then we send it to the stomach for dissection. But if you say you want to use your eyes just to glance over the food, I bet you there'll be trouble. So, in the Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned that, Krishna, his limbs are interchangeable. So, because he's absolute, he has that potency to use his eyes to do the work of the hands or to do the work of the mouth. And so the absolute truth, being the objective of devotional service, it just showing that potency of Achinta Beda Beda Tattva of the Supreme Absolute Truth. When we perform devotional service, when we are doing some service like Papa mentions in the purport, when we are doing some services, cleaning the temple or doing even some menial service we do, cooking, anything we do in devotional service, those services are the tools with which we can become purified, and with purity we can attain the absolute truth. And so, because for instance, when we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Literally, we are asking for service. We are begging Krishna, Rama, Radha. Hare is the invocative form of Hari. So we are begging Krishna and his devotional energies to help engage us in devotional service. And why don't we just chant Krishna's name, we glorify him, and then that's it? Why are we begging for service? Because service is our intrinsic, one of our intrinsic natures. No one can stay without doing some service. So either we're serving in the realm of the Antaranga Shakti, or we're serving the Bahiranga Shakti. We're serving the illusory energy, or we're serving the spiritual energy. So devotional service is Krishna's Antaranga Shakti. And so when we engage in devotional service, there is automatic promotion of our status. There is automatic purification that goes on, because devotional service is not different from the personality of Krishna himself. I mean, it's like we have, the deity is not different from Krishna. It's not that, that is a different, it's just his murti. That is a different manifestation, but it's not different from Krishna. If we have the eyes, we can communicate. If we have the purity, we can talk to the deity. When it talks, we can also hear. But, it's a little bit difficult for most people, or for most of us, because we are on the low ebb of the ladder. And so, the essential point is that when we do engage in devotional service, we have to understand what we are doing. Are we serving the president? Are we serving, some personality? No. The manager is the coordinator of the services. If we perform very nicely, they get credit. In fact, for instance, the person who brings us to devotional service, our Varma Pradashaka Guru, the first person who preaches to you in devotional service is your Varma Pradashaka Guru. Person who first gives you instruction about devotional service, who shows you the way. Like, Dhruva Maharaj's, his mother was his Varma Pradashaka Guru, because when he was in difficulty, when he was emotionally abused by the stepmother, and he was so affected by that, he was furious. And he went to meet the mother to figure out how to address the situation. So the mother told him, well, Krishna can do this for you. If you want anything, Krishna can do it for you. And he was very inquisitive. He has a desire, but he was inquisitive about how to go about addressing that need. So if we have a need and we are not inquisitive about how to address that need, nothing may come out of it. So again, we find that even a mother who is not one of the Paramahansa who was traveling around all over the world. His mother was not neither morning, traveling around all over the world, distributing Krishna consciousness. He's just a housewife. But he was in difficulty. He wanted to meet the mother. Hey, mama, look, my stepmother has really hurt me badly. What to do about this? So she said, oh boy, come on. I have a solution, don't worry. So tell me the solution. So then, the mother gave instruction about what to do. He said you should worship Krishna. He can give you anything. Kingdom, he can give you. He said, where can I meet Krishna? He said, sages, they worship him. They go to the Himalayas, they go to the forest, do meditation, worship him there. So he set off. Why am I bringing this story? Responsibility of the parent. If your child comes up to you to ask you, he's in difficulty, she's in difficulty, comes up to you to ask you about that difficulty, you can say, hey, this one is too much for me, you know? It's too much for you? Why you bring me to this world? You're not ready for it? So the bottom line is that even the parents, they direct people to Krishna, to devotional service. Why? Because that is the absolute duty of everyone. That is the ultimate goal. Krishna consciousness is the ultimate goal of everyone. And even for people who are engaged in sacrifices. So Papa mentioned in purport, every sacrifice that the priests perform, there's a lot of commitment in it. Sometimes people go to the Vedic literature without guidance, and they want to do the sacrifices that were being performed in the Treta Yuga. But we are in Kali Yuga. They want to perform some animal sacrifice. But then the animal sacrifices basically wasn't meant for this age. So this is the difficulty of just going to the Vedic literature and trying to craft a way to perform your sadhana without guidance. It's a difficulty. And so, what is essential for people in Kali Yuga is different from what was the sadhana for people in Treta Yuga or Satya Yuga or even Dwapara Yuga. In Dwapara Yuga, the process of worship was basically opulent temple worship. In Kali Yuga, the prescribed method for becoming purified for worship is not animal sacrifice. It's not even temple worship. But what is it? It's not even meditation. People go to the forest and do meditation for years and years, thousands of years. We can't even live for 100 years in most cases. And if you are so blessed, I don't know whether it's a blessing or a curse, but if you do live for 100 years, you regret of living. Because you have all these bones and all these stuff cracking up. There's one day, one problem, another problem, another problem. Look, I'm getting older and I'm seeing all the issues. So, whatever age that we find ourselves in, we have to follow set down standard of worship. Set down procedure of pleasing the Lord. Set down process of the Yuga Dharma or a process of self-realization. And just to jump into the scripture, just to jump into the Vedic literature and, choose something that we want to do without reference to the age that we are living in could be so complicated. And people are doing this. People are doing it. So, the beauty of Krishna consciousness is that we have Prabhupada's wonderful literatures, and we have to understand that prescribed duties are meant for our own purification if we incorporate that in Krishna consciousness. But if we have to do the prescribed duties for the sake of doing prescribed duties without reference to Krishna consciousness, it could become a source of entanglement in the material world. Just doing a good job for the sake of doing a good job without reference to Krishna, without using those resources in Krishna's service, it just creates entanglement. At best, you come back to this material world to reap whatever good works you've done, charity you performed to people and all these things. Yeah. But if it's related to Krishna, related to devotional service, that helps us to, have a leap ahead. And so this is the whole concept of prescribed duties in Krishna consciousness. We're working, we're doing all our prescribed duties, but we have to be able to integrate those things that we are doing in devotional service. We have to incorporate that in devotional service. We have to use the proceeds of our work in devotional service. Because not every one of us is just going to be so dear to Krishna, like, the verse that was recited this before the class. See the position of, the pure souls who have dedicated the whole of their life just for spreading Krishna consciousness. They are so exalted. They are so dear to Krishna. Their position is not, we cannot estimate it. And so we need to understand that we have to also become available to assist in the mission of the Lord. Because just to work and accumulate plenty of money without really finding ways to be able to help in the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, those accumulated wealth, that huge bank balance, it will become a source for fighting when we give up the body. And I have seen those kind of situations, very rich people, they have estates here and there, and then when they give up the body, and then, but when you're rich, also, except for say you're a billionaire like, POTUS, President Donald Trump. You see his assets and his extended family. There's when you have plenty of money, plenty of resources, and you're not in devotional service, there's no restriction for sense enjoyment. And so then you produce the children with this woman, with this mistress, and this one, and that one. By the time you die, will or no will, they'll be fighting. Somebody will go and assassinate the other person. Somehow or the other, it goes on. So then, we create trouble for people without even knowing, because we did not know what we were doing. And so, the resources that we have, coupled with proper information culture in devotional service, could be a source of liberation for even people yet to be born. How is that? When we set down a tradition, people even yet to be born, they will come and be proud of it. I mean, like I met one lawyer, one Indian American. I met her in New Jersey when I went to New Jersey last time. So she came to see me at my friend's place with her kids. One of them, the elder daughter, is a neuroscientist. She's going for a doctorate. And so she came from, her father was one of Indians, members of parliament. And then she was telling me how when she went to India, one of the first things she saw on the news was the exemplary standard that her father had laid down as a legacy in India. So someone brought the paper to her to see. You see what your father has done? His name is still being remembered. A legacy, a good one for that matter, that is ethically oriented, even generations of generations will come to be proud of that forefather. You see why we need to just be ethical in devotional culture and create an avenue for people to become interested in developing themselves. So based on that ethical value that the father has set down, has created, she wants to train her children. And one of her major complaints was, she wants to do this, but she doesn't know, the American children. She doesn't know how to do it. So I told her what to do and all this, and then eventually it worked out so nicely, because now the daughter, who is a neuroscientist, she's registering her PhD with the home that I stayed, my friend, he's also a neuroscientist. And so I said, with this done, the girl, you don't have any problem, Mataji, because she will see that her professor is a devotee. And there will be no big deal about preaching and saying you don't have to worry yourself. Now you leave it to Krishna, because if her professor, this is the practice that the professor is involved in, you don't need to preach to her. She will just follow in the footsteps. So talking about legacy in devotional culture is so important. Whatever we do, we have to understand that people will come to hear about it, people will come to read about it, and whatever, even in your locality, in your homes, or in your local settings, whatever you do will become embedded in people's consciousness. And if even you are not there for decades, or tens of hundreds of years, people will still remember you. So what good is there in not performing devotional service to be able to establish that type of legacy? If even we don't want to go back to Godhead, just to create a good name for your family, that's a big deal, isn't it? A good reputation for yourself. People want reputation. This is the cheapest way. This is the cheapest route to go. Easiest route to go. Yeah. So the important thing here is that whatever we are doing, religious rites, meditation, Yuga Dharma, sacrifices, we have to understand the very principle of Om Tat Sat. What is it? Is basically referring to Krishna. It's referring to Krishna. So although people may not directly involved in devotional service, the sacrifices they are doing, the hymns they are chanting, whose names they are chanting. So Krishna says in the Gita that he is the enjoyer of sacrifices, Bhuktaram, Jagyatapasha, Sarvaloka, Maheshwara. He is the controller of the whole three worlds. He is the enjoyer of sacrifices. But we're so lucky, we are directly under his refuge. We are seeking asylum in Krishna's kingdom. I was reading in the news, a Saudi Arabian girl, 18 years old, she fled her home because of abuse, and she was under the care of the Thai government. She went to Thailand, and then it became a big news because people don't like Saudi Arabia. It's democratic countries, they don't like Saudi Arabia, and so little thing that happened about Saudi Arabia, it's a chance. So they are helping the girl so much. How the girl go to Canada? Yeah. What is it? The girl is coming to Canada to seek for asylum. So many people, they try to come to America to seek for asylum, and that's why one of the things that Trump wants to build up the wall. He's asking for $5.7 billion to be able to build a wall at the Mexican border. Asylum. He doesn't want it. But Krishna wants us to seek asylum, okay? Krishna is open. His doors are open to us. Come seek asylum. What is the problem? Yeah, I'm serious. Oh, yeah. This process of devotional service is that essentially the jiva is seeking for asylum. He suffers so much of abuses in his country. So much of torture. I said, to hell, I'm tired of these guys, man. So the jiva flees.
Persecution.
It flees persecution. And in this case, there'll be no nothing like, Interpol coming to, because he didn't really commit any crime. He just unnecessary prosecution. No real crime committed. So you're not going to get some some cops running about. I mean, who has come to Krishna, then someone come to drag him out and say, hey, you can't worship Krishna, because you committed this offense in your country. What we are saying in essence is that we should take this process of Krishna consciousness seriously. Look at the political scenario in the whole world. We are thinking things are going to be better tomorrow. But that is one of the biggest lies. Because in Kali Yuga, things go on deteriorating. Values are deteriorating. Environmental forces are becoming more and more unfriendly. So we should not think, we will have a very successful future. That there will be no there will be no disease, old age, and death. You tell me. They've told you that? That the future will be so bright, so nice, that whatever the president asks for, the Congress will immediately endorse. No, fighting will always be there. I was also listening to Sanders' interview, and then her major complaint is that on Fox News, our major complaint to the interviewer is that these Democrats, they're just fighting the president. Prabhupada said, fighting, we can't avoid fighting. This is Mrityu Loka. This is the planet of death. We can't avoid fighting. Fighting is one of the defaults of material existence. Fighting, I repeat, fighting is one of the defaults of material existence. Ahara, Nidra, Baya. Baya means fighting. Ahara, Nidra, Baya, Metunya. Ahara, eating. Sleeping. Mating. Fighting. Any colony you go to, if you go to a colony of monkeys, a colony of elephants, these four things are going on. You can't stop it. You can only moderate it. But you can also go to moderate in some colonies. For instance, you can't go and moderate a colony of elephants where they're fighting, eating, mating, and sleeping. No. When even human beings, they object to your moderation. Now, what are you going to do with the elephants? And therefore, we need to understand, we have the potentials, we have the resources, but we have limitations. There are certain things that we can't really overrule it. And, there is this common, I remember one time, one of my friends in college, when I complain of something, he calls me and says, is it a general problem? Or this is concerning just for you? So I would say, but it's the whole class. He said, then shut up, don't complain. Yeah, people just have this type of, idea. They are young people, but then they have this idea. Or is the whole class? So why you complain? Yeah, but if even everyone is suffering, and you just want to get acclimatized to suffering, that's not a good deal. We should figure out ways how to help ourselves out from these horrible walks of life by engaging ourselves in proper sadhana. Proper sadhana is the watchword. Then we will mitigate all of the disturbances coming from the agitations of the mind, coming from the effects of the modes of material nature, the environmental forces, and the problems of our own body and mind. It is devotional service that is the rescue. Aribo, you hear it? Devotional service this time around is the rescue. You're talking about rescue the other time, when I came in. Oh. So let's file our papers properly. We are asylees. We're seeking for asylum, Krishna's kingdom. Let's file our papers. Let's get the documentation done properly. We think that, to seek asylum is something new. No. Right from time immemorial, this has been there. People have been seeking for asylum at Krishna's kingdom. And the doors are open. You have to, you have to follow up the proper procedure and you'll be granted. So this is the process. Any comments or questions? We are all asylum seekers here in the material world. We are looking for comfort in the wrong place. We should seek asylum properly, Krishna's kingdom, where there is no disease, no old age, no death. And that, the process of filing the papers, following proper procedure is in devotional service. And you get a deal. Your papers, you'll be approved. No objection. Any comments or questions?
I was looking at the purport where it says, without good association, you cannot achieve transcendental knowledge.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult to get good association.
That's true.
What are practical ways we could do it? Maybe,
That's a good point. One of the practical ways that we could do is to go to the dam. Once in a year, if we have the resources, that is so good. The only danger is that if you go, and this has happened to me a number of times, and if I go to Vrindavan and Mayapur, it's like it becomes like a big struggle, a big fight. My Guru Maharaj never asked me to go and stay in India. So I had to move out again to move out of India, and it is usually a big problem. It's like you're heat up to the wall, tied up, and then you have to struggle to disentangle yourself to come again to the prison.
Yeah. It's a completely different atmosphere.
But yeah, it's not good association. Go to the dam. See, we get acclimatized to the horrible forces here. Look, a place like New York, I mean, I would just compare, the New York environment it's more or less like a Lagos environment. The mode of passion and ignorance, they're so intense. They're so intense. And you think that you're not being affected? That is a great fallacy. We are being affected just by staying in this environment. And so if we don't take a step by the side and get proper association, I mean, at some point in time, we become like stagnated. And then, in some cases, you feel that you're not making, it's feel that you're not making any progress. Because you have all this battle. I mean, being outside of the dam is like a big battle. Look, I've been away from India since a year now. And, I know what I know how I'm feeling. But then the problem is, I want to leave on January 15th, be in London for 7 days, and then go to India on the 22nd for maybe almost about 3 months. But, the point is, when you do go to those places, you get really rejuvenated. You have, top practitioners giving classes every day, top practitioners, leading kirtans. And you get purified just by being in the Mangarati. You get purified by, going to the classes and hearing. I mean, it's like a big blow. Hey, get out from the Maya. Oh yeah, that's how, it's like, it works like that. So you ask a good question. How do we get practical ways? Yeah, if we have the resources, we should scheme. Once in a year, we should go to the dam. And of course, around, if we are not able to go to the dam, there are also other dams here. Like we have Greater Nagari, we have New Vrindavan. So these are places that are properly established. And if you go to these places, again, you will see the difference between these places and New York. Area, she just went to Greater Nagari. Was it last month?
This month.
Last month.
Last December. Yeah.
Yeah. And, she was expressing her, her experience, and that's not surprising. So I just wrote, I was trying to get some information from Dhruva. I was filling some form for a course that I want to do in Mayapur about, about 2 days stuff or so I want to participate in. And they said I had to get a reference, so I was trying to get Dhruva. But I never had spoken to him since I left. Maybe about over a month ago. I've never spoken to him. So I took a chance and then, send a message to him on WhatsApp. So then I told, look, I need your email because I want to use you as a reference. And he said, oh, that's not a big problem. Come on, you get it done. But then the point is, when you go to those places, and they have very good place. He was telling me, just today he was telling me, Raga students were there for like 7 days. And another place, Kent State University students were there. Every here and then, a group of students. I remember last time when I was there, it was like 30 or 40 students from one school. They were there doing some, volunteer work. And you go to those places, you see that, the environment alone gives you the association, the serenity you want, that impetus to move ahead. So we should move out from our comfort zone. It's not really a comfort zone, from our hushed zone. It's not a comfort zone. It's just a hellish zone. Because we get acclimatized to the system of waking up, rushing to work, coming back. And each time you go to work, you get really drained because you're dealing with people who are not devotees. And whenever people come together, there is that subtle exchanges that goes on. And so there's a lot of drain. And if you are the type that doesn't care for spiritual reinforcement, then you're really looking for trouble. Seriously. Yes.
So, this is a personal question. Based on what you just said about the way you feel about when you go to India and what Kaliya Krishna said. So ever since I came back from Gitanagari, my mind is not here. So I'm still there and I'm trying to figure out ways how I can move there. How I can live there. How I can do all my stuff from there. But how can I reconcile that? Well, you just mentioned your guru's instruction wasn't for you to go
and stay in India.
And that's not.
He wanted me to preach in the West.
Right, and I've gotten, and my instructions I feel like are similar, wherein I have to be in a hellish place like this one, and I can't go and be like happy in Gitanagari. So what? So what's? I trust everyone in here so I can speak my mind.
Right.
So what? Like how to reconcile?
Yeah. You see.
I don't want to disregard instructions, but at the same time, my mind is not here.
Yeah. So here is the point. Are you going to take yourself back to Godhead? Would you be able to take yourself back to Godhead?
Would I be?
Would you be able to take yourself back to Godhead?
No, I need somebody to.
Okay. So follow the instructions of Okay, let me tell you a personal story. When I joined the movement, I like reading. And then, there was one temple president, and then I was taking devotees out. That was in Africa, taking devotees out on Sankirtan, book distribution, food for life, and all this. We're doing different services. Now, my guru took me out from that very temple to another temple. They wanted me to do some university programs because that other temple, when they have a university just adjacent to the temple, a federal university just adjacent to the temple. So when I went to that temple, then we will send him every month report about what type of preaching you're doing. And these devotees under you, what is going on. Every month. When was the last time you wrote to your guru about your services you perform? We were monitored every month. You have to give a report to your guru what you have done for the past month. And the people under your care, how you have motivated them, inspire them to do something for Krishna. Every month. So when I was in that temple, I gave the reports about going out on Harinam with devotees, Sankirtan, book distribution, office to office distribution of books. He was very happy. Now, when he posted me to the new temple, where there was a university and he wanted me to do university programs, I sent the same report that I was doing in the other temple. Harinam, book distribution, office preaching, street book distribution, food for life. And he wrote back to me. He wrote back to me the same things that he was very pleased with me when I was in the temple. He wrote back to me to say, Vasudeva, your report is good. But all the things you mentioned in this report, any devotee in this country can do it. Go to the university professors and preach to them. At that time, I was not having even a master's degree. And he said, go to the university professors and preach to them. So I carried out that instruction. And within 3 years, I had over 25 publications in academic journals. I was going to academic conferences, presenting papers like a professor. Not just presenting papers, using applied Vedic science in providing solutions to political, social, and economic issues. If you go to my website, you look at my works. Those are the type of things I've been doing and I'm still doing. So I remember one time we were discussing and I was telling him that, this research and writing, it gives me a lot of pain. It bugs my head a lot because, I have to mix all of these things. It's so difficult. He said, yes, I know it's very difficult, but you have to do it. If you don't do it, you will not be happy. This is what I want you to do. He told me that. He told me that. So how to do it. And then when he noticed that I was making so much progress, he just came from travel one time and said, I want Vasudeva to go and do a PhD in the hall. And he repeated that pronouncement more than 3 times on different festivals. So when even he left the planet, when I became a citizen in the US, some devotees have written me and say, hey, we remember what Guru told you. We remember what he said you have to do. Yeah, it's so easy to remind somebody about what Guru told him. But whether you are doing what Guru told you is a different thing. But I took it with good heart. So I'm executing that. But it's only now to be so good. The other day I was speaking with the GBC of Washington, D.C., and he was so much impressed about my work because he's a communication minister, also he's into writing. And for you to see those type of works, and Prabhupada emphasized so much. I remember when I went to South Africa, I went to one university, and the devotees took me to one hall. He said Prabhupada was in this hall. He gave class in this hall. Prabhupada would go right into the university himself and seek out ways to preach, to speak to the students, speak to the professors. So yeah, look at even Prabhupada's case. when he was given instruction by his spiritual master to come to the West to preach, that was not so easy. It was not the most comfortable thing. He was comfortable in Vrindavan. And, where's the use of coming? But that was for our own benefit, or for the benefit of the whole world. So yeah, you see, if we are not working close with a mentor, we can decide what we want to do with our lives. No one is going to check you. You can just take your initiation and then, you go anywhere you want to go, do anything you want to do. But working directly with a spiritual mentor is beneficial, but at the same time, it's very tough. I'll just give you an example of the things I didn't even want to do. I would have preferred to just sit down and read Bhagavad-gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya, and I talk like a big scholar any place I go, and produce and reproduce. But then I wouldn't have been able to penetrate and present Krishna consciousness to suit the purpose of political scientists, management scientists, and whatever. No. So the Guru knows what is best for us. He knows our skills. He knows how best to engage us. The Guru is the best of talent managers. Prabhupada, he went to Atlanta, and that time Sadhaputta joined, and he was in Atlanta. Sadhaputta is one of our late scientists. And so Prabhupada asked the president, "Oh, this scientist, he's here, isn't it?" The president said, "Yes." What service is he doing? And the president said, "Oh, we engaged him to wash dishes." Prabhupada said, "All that you know is to engage people to wash dishes? This is a scientist. You can't ask him to wash dishes here. He's wasting his talent. Send him to Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami." Because that was, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami was in charge of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, which is a devotees, a community of devotee scientists. So the bottom line is that, yeah, there's nothing wrong in you going to Gitanagari, okay? But, the thing is that you want to go on Stadia, we'll discuss it.
That's good. There's some negotiation.
Seems like he's amenable. I don't know.
Yeah, we can negotiate. We can discuss it. And I remember, when Guru Maharaj was to pass away in Gitanagari, I was with him there, and he discouraged me to stay in Gitanagari. He told me, "There's nothing here. It's only on festivals you find people come here. I do my preaching in Washington, D.C. Here, I just come to do my writings." He told me that. In other words, "Hey, don't come and sit down here." Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what he told me. So, see, the beauty is that to take instructions is sometimes really like a hard knock. Really like a hard knock. One time, my guru asked me to become a president for 2 temples. The distance is 3 hours by the road apart. Then I tried to do it, then I complained to devotees in the other temple that, "Listen, you guys have to do the things yourself. I've obeyed. To obey is better than sacrifice. I can't complain, but if you wait for me, things will really slow down in your temple." I told him that. What I'm saying in essence is that to receive instructions is purifying, but it's not an easy-going thing. If you like, it can also become like, some people were, take initiation, nothing. Just do your own thing. And then, pave way, back to God. Good for you. But there are some people who have to take the burden of being in a mode of carrying the banner of their mentor. Yeah. When I was in Africa, I was invited to come to Georgia for a political science conference to present a paper I was a young brahmachari, 25, 26, 28 at that time. It wasn't a conference of religion or philosophy, political science conference. So a devotee, someone who's trying to be a devotee, to go and present a paper at a political science conference, conveying concepts and constructs of Krishna consciousness. You think about it. Those are the things I was instructed to do. I could just tell my guru that, look, I want to just become a simple devotee, chant Hare Krishna, read the Bhagavad-gita, read Bhagavatam, read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and, go back home, back to Godhead, by your grace, by your mercy. So, there's advantage of getting close to your mentor. There are also disadvantages. Yeah.
The best example is Srila Prabhupada.
It's difficult. But if he did not execute it, Krishna consciousness wouldn't have spread the way it's been. He created a landmark in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. So there are some people who have the skills. I remember, I think I'll mention this someplace, when Hridayananda Goswami Maharaj, when he met Prabhupada, at that time it was at Berkeley University, he told us, because in some years back we used to have ISKCON academic preachers, we used to have an annual meeting, annual conference. He told us when he met Prabhupada, when he was at the University of Berkeley in California, he wanted to stop his program. And Prabhupada said, no, you cannot stop it. We have to continue, you finish. This is very useful for us in the future. But look at what he did. Even he went ahead, got a doctorate in Sanskrit and Indian studies. He helped Prabhupada to be able to do the rest of the works of the translation of this 10 canto, 11 canto, and the 12 canto. So you could have just said, Prabhupada, look, I met you and, this is what I've been looking for. No need for college. Prabhupada said, no, you have to go. So, again, instruction. If he was not close to Prabhupada, he can do anything he like. He could do anything he like. He don't need to tell Prabhupada. He could just say, well, this is what I've been looking for. Okay, college. Then because he was close to Prabhupada, he got direct instructions from Prabhupada. And therefore, he did what he did. Yeah, so look, a good example is the case of Prabhupada. At an old age, he came here, but under the instruction of his guru. Yes. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, we have to end it here. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much for participating in this Krishna consciousness.